Okay. Equations and inequalities. This section here talks about manipulating equations. There is no doubt you will have to manipulate equations in your exam, very many of them. So I'm just going to go through some of the typical forms of manipulations that can happen. We're going to start with a very standard question. For the following expression, A over B is C over D, express A in terms of B, C, and D. So what we're saying here is that A over B is C over D, but you're only interested in A on the left-hand side. So we're saying we have A and B on the left-hand side, but I just want what's A equal to, thanks very much. So when we look at it like that, we say, well, what's happening on the left-hand side? What have we got that we don't like? B, isn't it? What is B doing on the left-hand side? It's dividing, isn't it? It's there as a divider. How do you get rid of a division? Multiplication. So if I choose to multiply both sides by B, I should be in a better place. Is that okay? So what I do here is I say A over B is C over D, and I say if I take B times the left-hand side, is B times the right-hand side. Why would I take B? Because it was on the bottom, it was a divider, I didn't like it. Why would I multiply? Because I was dividing. And that B should cancel. Let's leave the right-hand side just for the moment, okay? That'll be B times C over D. On the top I've got BA over B, they're going to cancel. It looks like I'm going to be left with just A is B, C over D. Is that okay? So I look at the equation, it tells me, asks me what I want. In this case I just wanted A, and it says, fine, I did it. Let's look at the next example, or the same example, and it says, using A over B is C over D, find out what D is. Really what we're saying is our focus of interest now is here. Not a great spot really. It's on the right-hand side rather than the left-hand. Now, you can always change the right-hand side for the left-hand side. Watch this. If somebody says A over B is C over D, and you want this to be on the left-hand side rather than the right-hand side, you just say equals A over B. That's equal to that, equals to itself. Is that okay? And then you say, at least now it's on the right, now it's on the left-hand side. Is that okay? So that gets it over on the left-hand side, but it's on the bottom, isn't it? And really I want it on its own on the top. Is that okay? So here we have A over B is C over D. Could I improve that in any way? Do I like the D being on the bottom? No. How could I get rid of D on the bottom? Multiply by D on the top. If I multiply by D on the top on this side, I better multiply by D on the top on that side. Is that okay? So if I do, I say D, multiply both sides. And I'm in a better position now, because D on both sides, I can say, well, this D will cancel with that D. If it doesn't, why did I bother doing it? Okay? So I now have DAB is C. So D times A over B is D times C over D. And the two D's cancel. So I've got DA over B is equal to C. Am I very happy at this stage? I wouldn't say I'm ecstatic, because really I was looking for D on the left-hand side, wasn't I? On its own. But it's on the left-hand side, so that's a start, isn't it? What about the B on the bottom? Do I like it? Multiply. So I get DA over B times B is B times C. The B's cancel. DA is BC. That's not bad. What would I like on the left-hand side? D on its own. Do I want the A? No. What's it doing? Multiplying. How do I get rid of a multiplier? Divide. So DA over A is BC over A. I've got D is equal to BC over A. I've sort of gone around the houses a bit to get there, but I have an answer. Is that okay? So I get D is BC over A. That should be A there just in the bottom, so you know that's DC over A. Now, there is an alternative approach to that you would have learned called the cross multiplication method. If you have A over B is equal to C over D, somebody says that you can do this crisscross. You can say top by the bottom on this side, AD is equal to BC. Seen that rule before? But even if you didn't, you could prove it by saying, well, how could I get A on its own on the A over B is equal to C over D. I want A on its own here, so I'm going to multiply by B. That gives me A is equal to BC over D. I don't want D on this side. I'm going to multiply by D, and I get AD is equal to BC. All that was happening in that crisscross was something you learned that just says, oh, do I crisscross here or do I crisscross there? Doesn't matter. Just do one step at a time and it'll unfold. It's just two steps taken together. So which one do I use here? You don't. Just get rid of something at a time and tidy up. Okay? Like after a party, you don't have to clean out the whole room in one go. A few bottles here, bags of crisps here, pizza here. Just one at a time. You know what I mean? Next one is a bit more complicated. It's just more ugly, that's all. And it says, for the following expression, A over B plus C over D equals E, find A. So I'll leave you to do that for a minute. Just do that on your own. Just get rid of everything you don't like and just leave A on the left-hand side, step by step. Okay, we'll give that a go. There may be many different ways of getting to the same answer here. So if I take a particular path, it doesn't mean that it's the only path I could have chosen. But A over B plus C over D is E. I would say that I don't like much of the left-hand side, and I could probably get rid of this thing entirely. So I could say that A over B plus C over D equals E. That's a plus with a term in it that I don't really welcome on the left-hand side. And I could say minus C over D. Minus C over D. And that will get rid of that for me. So I've got A over B is equal to E minus C over D on the right-hand side. B I'm not particularly fond of on the bottom here, so I'm going to multiply that by B. B times A over B is B times E minus C over D. They're going to cancel for me. A is equal to B E minus C over D. But it's by no means the only way I could have gone around that. So the answer is there, a plus c over d. I got rid of the c over d. I didn't welcome it. But anything I did on this side, I did on the other side, in the same place. A over b is that. B times, to get rid of the b, cancel that for me. So that gives me just a is all of that. We'll just get another example now. Express d in terms of a, b, c, and e. So exactly the same expression here, but we now have this fella to choose. We have to get rid of d now. We have to get to d. And it's just a merry-go-round. It's like Sudoku. You get this line, then you get this number, or a bit of, it's just like a jigsaw or something like that. Just one piece at a time. A over b plus c over d is e. And I want to keep the d. Again, this might be quite offensive, this a over b. There's a plus bit, I don't need it. So I could say a over b minus a over b plus c over d is, and I started on this side with a minus here, so I better put in a minus a over b and all that plus e here. So c over d is equal to minus a over b plus e. Do I like the d on the bottom? Not particularly, so d solves that. Now I've got c is equal to d times all of this stuff, minus a over b plus e. What am I looking for? D. I'd probably like d on the left-hand side, would I? So I could say this is equal to c, couldn't I? And create a new left-hand side for me like that. Yeah? And what is this stuff? That's something in parentheses there. What is it? Is it multiplying it? It's just a multiplier, isn't it? So if I was to divide this side and say, okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to say c is equal to d into minus a over b plus e equals c, or whatever that is. If I was to divide this side by minus a over b plus e and divide this side by minus a over b plus e, they'd cancel. So I'd get d is equal to c over minus a over b plus e, or if I wanted to do it the other way, c over e minus a over b. If you prefer to write it that way, it's the same. But all I'm trying to show is that every single equation, step at a time, eliminates it. It can only be something you've done before. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, logs, powers, roots. There's something there that you can undo to get at it. And there was the d. So what I did there was, I said, I got rid of the a over b that I didn't like, moved it over there. Then I multiplied by d. I got c was equal to this, which I made equal to, then I divided by that term, with the c on this side equal to that, with d is equal to that, and then flipping the right-hand side to the left-hand side, I just rewrote it. Just turned those around. Now, this is more typical of the exam format of a question, not quite just the general, but they'll give you something like this. Where c is equal to 8a minus 5b over 2d, find b in terms of a, c, and d. Absolutely straight examinable material. Flip that. So what they're saying is c is equal to 8a minus 5b over 2d. And you're asked to find b. That's it. Go in and find b. Step by step, what's in the way, how do you get rid of it, what would simplify it, how would you sort it, etc. So give that a minute and see how it goes. Okay, we'll give this a go. 8a minus 5b over 2d. I mean, keep your eye on the target. The target is the b. I certainly don't like this divider here. So probably the first thing I would do is I would say 8a minus 5b. I would get rid of that 2d on the bottom. How do you get rid of a divider like that? Multiply by 2d on top and 2d on top in the right order. So they'd cancel. You get c2d or 2cd or whatever you want is 8a minus 5b. Is that a bit better? Do I like the 8a here? Not really gone on that. So I could take that over and I could set 2cd minus 8a is 8a minus 8a minus 5b. Now I've got 5b on this side. Anything about the 5 you don't like? Is that okay? That would give us b. It wouldn't actually give us b. What would it give us? Minus b. So what are we going to do with the minus? Well, we took it over to the other side, it would become a plus, and that over the other side would become whatever. But you could just multiply by minus, couldn't you? So if we look at this, the first thing I did was I said, really not gone on the 2d. So I multiplied both sides by 2d. And that cheered up a bit on the right, that side. 2cd was that, which wasn't bad. Then I said, well, a different approach. Exactly the same will come out. I had 2cd is 8a minus 5b. In this case, I said, I don't like the 5 minus 5b. So I added 5b to both sides, to the right-hand side and the left-hand side. So 2cd plus 5b became 8a. 2cd plus 5b, not really gone on the 2cd. So I took it from both sides. And I got 5b is 8a minus 2cd divided by 5. Exactly the same as I got here, just a different sequence to get there. You can turn left first and then right, or go around the corner up before you do it down. Is that okay? So that's it. As long as you don't bring any mathematical rules, you'll end up with the same answer. Is that okay? I just thought I'd show you another application of this, and the reason why this is so important to your program is here's an absolutely classic question from a different part of your program. Where the volume of a sphere is given as this, find an expression for r in terms of v. V is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. This is straight from your mathematical tables. Remember in your mathematical tables that they give you the equation or the formula in one form only. They're telling you what the volume is in terms of the radius. But you might want the radius in terms of the volume. And you've got to flip that around. And there's no equation for that in your book. So really what I'm saying is find r. Is that okay? Don't give me v, give me r. I better do something here on this r. So how do I do that? Well, v is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. And let's take it a step by step. I don't like the 3. If I multiplied both sides by 3, in fact, what I'm going to do is change the 4 pi over 3 is v, because the first thing I have, v is equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. I want the r on the left-hand side, don't I? So if I make that equal to v, it's on the left-hand side. So I now have the equation written like this. It's not r, but at least it's on the left-hand side for me. Is that okay? 4 over 3, how do I get rid of the 3 on the bottom? Multiply by 3. So 3 times the 4 over 3 is 3 times v. And that gets rid of the 3 for me. Now I have an expression that says 4 pi r cubed is 3v. Do I like the 4? No. I could even divide by 4 pi at the same time. Or I could take the 4 first and then the pi first or whatever. I could divide by 4 pi on both sides, because pi is just a number. And I get r cubed is equal to 3v over 4 pi. Or I could do it in 2 steps. So I now have r cubed is 3v over 4 pi. Well, what was I asked to find? R. What have I got? R cubed. I don't want r cubed, give me r. How do you get from an r cubed to an r? The cubic root. You just say, well, the flip of that is the cube, and the flip of that is the cube. So r is equal to the cubic root of. Is that okay? It's just pours away, really, doesn't it? So any expression you want in any form, you just say, how do I get rid of it? Flip, gone. I just want that on the left-hand side. Is that okay? And that's the end of that topic. Now, we'll start another second there, Max. Is that okay?